What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and we are back for our 5 takeaways of the match we just saw between the Canadian men's national team and Honduras. Now, I was having a bit of trouble even wanting to put together 5 takeaways because I didn't know if I had 5 takeaways. Because I don't know if you watched the match that I just watched, but guess what? Playing in a swamp is not very fun. So I'm going to do my best putting together 5 takeaways. So my first takeaways, guys, is rain. I mean, this was horrible. This was a terrible match to watch on both sides. I mean, I'm giving credit to Honduras because he had to go out there and get the job done. They did. But I can't imagine that their supporters watched this match and be like, hey, that was enjoyable. Because if Canada even won it, I don't think I would have saw that. That was a recess at its finest. That was the type of performance we just saw because that's all there was. You didn't know if you were making a pass to anyone on the pitch, if it was ever going to make it there. There were pockets throughout the pitch that were completely soaked. Every single time a player ran on it, they fell, or they simply lost the ball in their feet, or the pass just died. And I thought it was funny when I look back at the match against Curacao when we started off. Eustachio put this beautiful ball over to Tejan. We were on the front foot. That's how the game went. If you go back to the start of this match and you watch Stephen Eustachio in his kickoff, he hit the Honduras guy right in the face right off the start. So that summed up what we just saw. But we didn't get it done. So the second takeaway is I saw a different side of some of the Canadian national team players today. A real CONCACAF vibe, a real frustration. And I don't blame them. If I played in a match like that, after just coming off of a really, really strong effort against Curacao and having to go through that disastrous type of environment and the frustration knowing the history between Honduras and then not to be able to play the sport the way it's supposed to be played is frustrating. And they saw frustration throughout the whole entire match. I was screaming for Vittoria to come off after 45 because he just looked like he was going to get that second yellow. It was coming. We saw Alistair Johnson eventually get it. We had, at the end, fighting going on. We had yellow cards coming left, right, and center. The boys were losing their heads a little bit. And I think that's something we got to keep in mind. And just when the adversity comes their way, they were down a goal early. They had a couple of chances going their way. It just wasn't really falling to them to put in the back of the net. And then they had the weather condition. It didn't really seem that they could fight their way through it. I'm not looking too much in it, but there was definitely some frustrated players, whether it's not being able to battle adversity, which a little harsh, but in honesty, it's probably just simply coming to the fact that this is not how the sport was meant to be played, and they were quite frankly annoyed doing it. My third takeaway is the fact that we got to see a bit of an interesting lineup. We got to see Ike Ugbo, which I was really, really excited for. I think a lot of you guys were excited for too. I did not realize that the conditions were going to be quite like that. So I felt bad for Ugbo. This was an opportunity because Laren and David didn't look overly good in the first match. Ugbo had an opportunity to really thrive, and he had to play in this. And I mean, what was the point? I mean, in all honesty, come on. They didn't get anything out of him. We weren't able to judge his performance because every time he touched the ball, there wasn't much to do with it. He would run into water. He would run into people. He would fall. It was just difficult. So I felt bad for Ike. There was one specific player in this match that I thought could have had a real opportunity. And unfortunately, with no control of his own, it kind of slipped under that. Fourth takeaway, guys, I'm going to take a look at Jonathan David. And I thought him coming on the pitch, again, we didn't get to see much of a cameo, but this is a man who I believe really wants that transfer. And I think we all know that he had a very streaky season this year, but still scored 15 goals in a top 5 league. And his last window was a bit of an iffy one for Canada. So I really wanted to see him come back here and show the type of player that he is. And this is exactly what he did. He wasn't on the pitch very long. He was very quiet in that first match. And this was a striker's finish. In these conditions, it was an impressive finish. You can't take that away. The other goals were a little iffy. That was a beautiful through ball into him. A little dink over the keeper. Very composed finish. I think that's the type of striker you want to see Jonathan David continue to do for the Canadian national team and hopefully do at club level, wherever he potentially may go. And I think if he gets that transfer and he can do these type of performances, he'll be able to continue to hopefully just become that well-rounded striker that we know that he can be. And my fifth and final takeaway, guys, it's a bit of a debate because we saw it in the live chat. I thought it was a fun one, so I'm just going to throw it out here to you guys. I want to know how much you guys are looking into this match because I heard 95% of people in the chats, but specifically Canadians, saying this game means nothing. There's no takeaways. There's no nothing. Josh, good luck coming up with this video. There's nothing to take away because that match was atrocious. But on the flip side of that, it's like, well, crap happens. There's going to always be an excuse. And some examples were the Ice Tekka. And I wanted to put this point out. Us Canadians, and I'm speaking generally here, are not complaining because of the heat of Honduras or anything like that. When Mexico went down to Canada, they complained about the temperature. But guess what? There was still a pitch where if you pass the ball, guess it was going to make it to where it was going to go. There was an actual game that could be played. Yes, it was freezing, just like Honduras could have been very, very hot. That's not the debate here. But let me know if I'm overthinking it. My debate was a statement, and it was the fact that this was an unplayable match at any level. That was not how the game's supposed to be played. The amount of times people fell, the amount of times, I mean, and I didn't even talk about the goal, but I had a trouble, and I can leave it up for a debate as well, because yes, Kamal Miller, Richie Luer got a little bit exposed. It was poor defending on that first goal. But if you watch very carefully, at least this is how I saw it, people were falling all over the place, and it looked like Richie Luer wasn't even able to adjust his body or adjust his feet. It looked like he was trying to be so careful, like he was on skates, that he didn't want to fall, and he wasn't able to react quick enough. So I didn't know if I really wanted to throw a lot of the blame on him, because that's how I perceived it. So yeah, there's a lot of debates in the last one. The last takeaway here was just for interpretation of how you interpreted the match. Because for me, seriously, it's, yes, Honduras got the win, congratulations, but that was nothing to take away. I just took away the fact that Canada doesn't like playing in rain, clearly, because it's unplayable, and the other players got really frustrated. So I did my best, guys, coming up with a list of 5. I beg you to go in the comments, see if you can come up with 5, because it's hard. And yeah, I didn't take much away from it. After this crazy window, there was unbelievable lows. There was a one decent high with Curacao, and this was just pure frustration. I'm really looking forward to that September window. It's the most important window. Clearly, it's the one right before the World Cup. That is where we need to be looking. That's where we need to be focused on. Canadian Soccer Association, you got some big shoes to try to fill, trying to get these games going, because you let us down this window. Get 3 friendlies. Hopefully all European teams, good nations, and hopefully we can get to where we need to be in preparation for the World Cup. But those are my favorite takeaways, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub as well, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, friends.